Alright, I'm gonna make a video here on YouTube again because I know I'm not gonna get many views on here, but I want to rant. I'm always using YouTube as another platform besides TikTok. Even though I get a little bit more views in some areas with this, but this is gonna be about tinnitus as voices. What is the way how to deal with this? There are some techniques how to get used to with tinnitus. Now my tinnitus can be a little more harder than some others because mine is not a pure tone. It's more of a fluctuations of different tones that react to different things. It's pretty mild, but it can be annoying. Now, if you do have, like, say, mild tinnitus, it's pretty much easy to mask. I won't say anything. Even I used to have it, where it was so quiet I can barely even hear what it is. But then over that year, it changed to me because I was drinking, and the chemicals within the alcohol entered my head and changed everything to me. If I had not drank, I could have actually stayed with mild tinnitus for the rest of my life, and I didn't even know it. Makes me feel unnerved right now about that. But I have to keep moving. And that's the part. Is that if you do have, say, a pure tone tinnitus, there are some steps that you can take to deal with it. One is called, One's called habituation. This is where you're going to have to deal with it. It's going to be taking a while, some time, months, weeks or months to get into it. If your tone is not just mild, but more like moderate or severe, there's going to be some steps with it. All right. Let's hang up the phone so we can talk about it. Now, how to habituate is your mind has to be able to get used to it. You don't have to listen to it, but sometimes you have to. When you listen to that tinnitus, first let it draw in. If it's ringing, then walk away from it. Just ignore it. Just like do something, exercise, take some hobbies. Think about that. Reading. Make some. Music can actually mask it out. Mine can't. It disrupts by it, so it's going to be more harder than that. There's other ways to deal with tinnitus than do some others. Now, some others would not actually be able to habituate their tinnitus because they can actually have ear hyperacusis, or like mine, which is reactive. Some of the times you can habituate hyperacusis. What hyperacusis is a very highly sensitive form of tinnitus. You still get the ringing, which is still annoying, but you can get over it. It's the losing the tolerance to loud noise. I'll give you one example. How do we do this? Sitting to the point of, say, knocking on this table here. Okay? Or knocking on the wall that's coming on here. We'll just put that. Because I want to make an example. Any kind of certain loud noises that you try to make is going to hurt your ears if you have hyperacusis. It's pretty much debilitating to some point, and some people have to wear, like, one of these, which is earplugs. Now, some people who have just regular tinnitus needs to wear these when they're going over to, say, a concert, movie theater, or some places, because even the higher decibels, even if you have tinnitus, you're still going to have sensitivity, even if you don't have hyperacusis or reactive tinnitus. You're still going to have sensitivity somewhere, and that's going to worsen your tinnitus. As well as if you already have sensitivity, these will become your lifesaver at some point. As well as if you have tinnitus and you want to go out to the gun range and you want to shoot guns, the way is that plus earmuffs, which are those big headphone kind of things, but don't have noise to it. They can actually cut up a lot of the decibels. So say if you're going to be shooting a gun, because the gun's going to be coming near to your ear, say from here or here, because it can shoot up to 130 to 150 decibels. That's more louder than what your ears need to deal with. Like 80 decibels is on the safe range, but still can be dangerous if you keep persistent on a longer time. Whereas 120 is a lot more dangerous, because once you get up to that point, you're already starting to damage your ears very quickly. Even if you're doing just 1 hour at a time. Just 1 hour on a headset. Or 1 hour in a 120 decibel concert. You always need to protect your ears. Now, if you do have tinnitus, habituation is at one point. Just ignoring the ringing. If it does become loud and intrusive, once your brain is continuing filtering that out, it's still going to be there, but it's going to be less intrusive. Your brain is not going to be trying to calm down. Here it is. Once your brain filters out, it's not going to be like quieted out. It's your perception of it will start to think it's quieted down. It will go into the background. You will notice that will be. Once it goes in the background, you no longer be able to hear it. Hyperacusis, however, this is where you have to desensitize your sensitivity to it. And this can also go with reactive tinnitus, even though both are, one can actually be going away completely, because it's just the sensitivity part. The other part is a little harder, because you're still going to be hearing like distortions or your own tinnitus going up higher, because it's spiking. But what desensitization is, basically, to give you one of these kind of things. It's a hearing aid, but it doesn't have the application, because, hear why. Let me put this back. No longer hear that hearing ring anymore. You know, I can get used to it, but with the beeping noise and everything else. But what desensitization does, you get a white noise masker. It comes one like these things. They plug in your ear. They play low volume pink noise and white noise. Now, there's some people on tinnitus talk would say, but there's some experts in there. Well, not experts. They would say the best point of it is to lower the volume lower than your tinnitus. This will help out with your tinnitus, and in case with hyperacusis, this will lower down. This is called tinnitus retraining therapy. Use one of these things. Now all you have to do throughout the week, first the 3 weeks, you wear one of these for 2 hours each. 2 hours each time of the day. You do 2 hours of this, and then you take it off, let your ear rest for a minute, and then work it back in. You work it back out. You work it back in. You work it back out. This will help your ear travel all that ambient noise into the brain. The brain needs stimulation of the noise to work within it, to kind of get back to get used to that noise. It's kind of like exercising your brain. It's what it does. So once it's getting used to that noise, you know, that humming or where that kind of noise, that soothing noise. Once your brain gets used to that, it will start to tone down the hyperacusis. Your pain threshold is going to be going away. And you will no longer have it probably within a year or two, or even months if it's going way quicker. Even it may help your reactivity as well. It will tone it down. So when you no longer hear distortions or just your own tinnitus going away, because it helps on both sides. Then there's CBT, which is called cognitive behavioral therapy. Now, this is mostly within your own brain, your limbic system. Once you're already starting going through the white noise therapy, by wearing the hearing aids in both ears, they need to. That way, both ears can hear the sound. Because one doctor here on YouTube, said that if you only leave with one ear, tinnitus could travel over the other, which has been known to be that. So if you're unilateral with just one ear, you don't want to make it become bilateral, or have it travel from one ear to the next. You can have this ear being fine, and this could be like your tinnitus ear. Then there's been known cases for that, and many people have reported it, even on their Facebook, Tinnitus Talk, whatever. You need to go see your audiologist first, then your ENT, to recommend you seeing a hearing therapist. And once you seeing these people, then they will take you into the therapy. And these therapies are kind of like very expensive, because first thing they'll do is do counseling. How to work, all the reason why you're being bothered with your tinnitus or your hyperacusis. Once you go with these people, then they start giving you, the hearing therapist give you one of these things, start going through the training. Once after that 3 weeks is done for those 2 hour a day time like things, then you go with 8 hours a day. What's this? Once you go 8 hours a day with the noise generators, you're going to have to wear these things for 8 hours a day for months to almost up to a year or maybe more, until your tinnitus or your hyperacusis has been completely reduced. Now, there's been more cases where hyperacusis has been gone away, but when you have tinnitus, the ringing perception will go down. And then you have to train your brain to get used to that sound and have it going completely down. But then you still got to be careful what you're hearing yet again, including hyperacusis. There's been some cases where it can come back and go full-blown severe. So always protect your ears. Like I said, to one of these, and to many loud places, like say concerts or crowded, like sports bars, like say Buffalo Wings. When you go to one of those places, sport bars like that, get one of these. Protect your ears, because any places that are higher than 80 decibels or in 70 could damage your ears, even if it's severely sensitive or slightly sensitive. Always remember to protect your ears. And if you still do want to have your ringing lower, go to habituation, just ignore it, go about your day, your brain, and always calm your body and your mind. That's one other thing too, if you want to do one of these therapies yourself. Once you do that, and you truly ignore your tinnitus or perception of it, it can lower down. It may take just some months. I mean, some people can go within weeks, and then it'll be completely ignored. Their moderate level of tone will go down to maybe a mild, and you're like, oh, okay, so it's loud. Yeah. And there'll be sometimes you get spikes, but then if you train your brain to get used to that spike, you're no longer have that problem. There you go. It is that